Saturday and Sunday, so we'll be paying some overtime.
I'm still in that big boat.
Oh my gosh.
You do expand that and have to hit the playground, so you can spend more money on overtime and have to go to the playgrounds once in a while.
I can't go this weekend for it, so I need to.
No, I'm
Just put an exhaust fan in the
fill up the
back.
spray and.
Like marketplace is doing
Probably
this is what
remember how
I'm
to do
thinking.
that, but I just.
You don't look like that.
That's what we did for the golf cart, so.
Yeah, we should have the playgrounds for that discussion.
So you do it, you move it.
Yeah. It's gonna be another week down the road, so maybe it'll be a little bit.
Number 6.
All of that is not good. But he's down really good.
Where's that?
He'll back up.
He sounded good today, I started sound like old Bob.
Yeah. 90, he gets definitely back up here.
We use the elevator to the meeting.
I don't think he'd be able to overcome it.
Oh, sure he does.
Ready, it's like dealing with baseball stuff. He knows all these people that call. He can call. Get him to miss that connection. We don't have that right now.
Later.
When I called here earlier. Now they're gonna say, he's avoiding me.
Yeah.
It's nice to have everybody here for a change.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randy. I missed you too.
Pardon?
So thank you, Randy. I missed you too.
Nice to hear that.
State law requires this body to announce at this time that a copy of the current Open Meetings Act is available at the back of the room or is accessible to the public. Simpson.
Here.
Sisson.
Here.
McDermott.
Here,
Gibbons.
Here?
Burbine.
Here.
Hines.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Aldridge.
Here.
Thank you. If we can all stand, please, for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1 is approve the consent agenda, pay the claims as submitted, and approve the minutes of the May 19th regular council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Aldrich and Sisson.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Carried. It is now time for the public forum. Anybody in the public would like to speak to the council, now is the time. If you want to address something that is not on the city agenda. If not, I'll close the public forum. Item 3, consider Chamber of Commerce proposal for Holdridge tourism. We've talked about this several times. I think Jessica Kraus wants to present her with her idea.
Okay. Should I come up here and stand in front of everybody again?
Hey, Jessica.
Yeah.
You stand about right, just back over here a little bit.
Where? In the front?
Over there, and then face everybody, that'd be great.
Here?
Back up right. There's great. You can
Okay.
move up a little bit though. Up.
I know, right?
Okay, maybe.
Tilt my head a certain way?
Yep.
Just kidding. Okay, so everyone should have received this in their packet, and I just kind of broke it down a little bit just so everyone can see. I pulled the numbers from 2019 that PCDC received from the tourism, from the lodging tax, I'm sorry. And that was $37,000 that they received in 2019. That's at 4%. So we can kind of go off of that if we're wanting to do 5%. And then I just kind of split it up. Ron helped me, so thank you, Ron. So we can see what 50-50 looks like and 60-40, and then what that amount would actually go to and the percentage that it would go to. A big part of the budget is going to be for conferences, convention, recruitment. So presenting proposals, presentations, and recruiting conventions and things like that to actually come to Holdridge, and we would receive more money from that. So, the other big one would be for downtown revitalization. So that would just help with our beautification projects and banners and things like that. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Questions from the council?
Do you have any particular areas or types of conventions that you would go after?
Not yet. There's quite a few, and I think Ron and I had kind of thought about what types of conventions we could go after and that whole process, what it would look like, but it might even include creating some new ones. So maybe having like a home and builder show here or something that would kind of highlight a little bit more of the businesses that we have down here, but putting together things like that.
One time you mentioned about promoting the ball fields and lining events up.
Mm-hmm. So that would fall into that same category. We would try to get tournaments and, softball or baseball conventions or tournaments to come down here. Conferences, softball conference, just kidding. Yeah, tournaments to come down here and actually utilize the new ball fields that we have. So that would be pretty good for Holdridge, all those families that would be coming down, watching their kids or nieces or nephews playing, going to our businesses, staying at our hotels, things like that.
Randy?
Jessica, can all this be done through LBA 40 funds?
That would be a Ron question. He manages LB 40 funds, so.
We're not the tourism development organization. That's why we promoted the idea of creating a tourism-specific organization and funding for that, because LBA 40 funds can be used in some ways for that, but it's more appropriate, we think, to use the hospitality-generated funds to support that effort.
But some of this could be done through PCDC.
That's not our main focus.
Well, money's very tight, that's why I'm asking. I mean, we need to broaden our horizons here a little bit on how we fund things.
That's why we brought this idea to, we thought that funds that are generated through the hospitality industry could be reinvested and to generate and grow that whole sector that would raise the entire economy of Holdridge and the surrounding area.
So right now, the chamber itself is already kind of doing some beautification projects. As many of you know, we've done the Christmas lights, but we're asking for a ton of grants for those, and most of the time the funding doesn't even 100% that we know of because it's such a big project. So having something like this would kind of help us be able to make sure that those are fully funded, to have new Christmas lights, new outdoor banners, kind of making those downtown green spaces a little bit nicer for the community.
I mean, the city does give the chamber $10,000 now.
Not last year and not this year, just because we haven't came and asked for it, I believe.
I think
Come
it
back
was in
and
the
ask.
budget.
What's that?
Come back and
Oh,
ask.
definitely.
Please, come ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a line item in the budget, I'm pretty sure there's
I
10,000
thought
that says.
I thought they got it.
Yeah.
I think we have a $5,000 line item, but I think last year, or a while back, you came and asked for, or the chamber came back and asked for more, and we upped it to 10 that year.
Yeah, I think it was the director before me. She came and she asked for more because of Concrete Solutions that was happening at the time, and that did get approved, so thank you for that. But yeah, I haven't personally came and asked for anything, so.
I personally think you should come to the council with these projects. at budget time. I think that's the place to deal with this. I think this money should go into the city coffers, and then the council decides how it's spent. That's my feelings. We have a lot of other projects too we're dealing with, as you well know, that are demanding some funding too. And the years I've been on the council, we've never, that I know of, turned the chamber down on any request that they've ever made to the city. We've always done everything we possibly can to help you.
So you're suggesting that we could come in during budget time and request the 50% of this actual occupation tax?
It's been more on a specific project basis. When you have a project you want to do, I mean, that's when, this is something we haven't seen in the past, as you well know. So, I mean, it's going to be new for the city to deal with too.
Come ask us every year. You do good work and we do want to support you.
There might be a deal, we might be able to, when it comes to budget time, say if we had the $10,000 line item, we may be able to adjust that to make it a little bit bigger pool, like 15,000 or something. And then if you did have special things come up, you could come back and we could approve it as far as something that you didn't expect, you know, for a project. So
I didn't realize we hadn't granted that the last 2 years.
pretty sure it's in the budget. Yeah, I am
We always
too.
say
It is a line item in the
yeah.
budget.
Yeah, it's in there.
Your membership's been down a little bit here lately, hasn't it? Or has it been able to get it back up?
That's kind of hard to say. We've had some members drop, but it's mostly been members who have gone out of business. And I think keeping track of those things in the past has kind of been something that wasn't.
Yeah.
Slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, there's a couple that kind of slipped through and we weren't able to say, you know, definitely if they were members, if they were paying their membership. So it's something that we're kind of able, that I'm able to kind of go in and handle a little bit. I don't want to say better, but.
We have not, the council have not even approved the occupation tax yet. We've approved the first reading of it. You know, I'm still kind of curious on how this is all going to play out and stuff. And I appreciate Ron Tillery pushing PCDC to get occupation tax. Originally, he was saying, we get this going, that'd be good for the city. And that's kind of where we're coming from. But now the chamber's wanting some of this, and PCDC was wanting some of it. I don't know how many more people are going to want a piece of this pie. Our humble pie might be pretty small. I don't know. I kind of would like to wait and see kind of how this is going to develop. We do have budget coming up here in a few months. And I would highly recommend coming up and maybe the city increasing. The dollar's kind of tight this year for some reason. We all know that it's affecting business and stuff. Chamber does do quite a job with what they have to work with, and I appreciate everything that they're doing.
We're not gonna get a lot on this first year anyway. You know, I mean, the motel's not even open yet. It's a new one, and that's not open until the end of July. Well, that's already more than half the year gone, so.
And if we would pass this resolution tonight, when would it take effect?
15 days after publication.
It's not a risk.
It's an ordinance. It's 15 days after.
I think we just need to hold off right now. There's just too many unknowns, and I appreciate this information though.
Yeah, this is more than we've had.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Mr. Mayor, if I could maybe address Randy's question and the comments that you made. We brought this to you thinking that it would be a way for us to grow an economic sector that has not had a lot of activity in the past. PCDC never requested a portion of this funding to come to PCDC. We always thought that the chamber was in the best position to function as a tourism and hospitality development organization. So the idea was that this would provide a stream of revenue to that organization that would enable them to grow the whole economic sector. Clearly, we thought that some of those funds should go right back to the city for whatever purpose the city wanted to put that funding. But reinvesting those funds that come out of the hotel industry into the development and promotion of our market to attract more activity seems like a good investment to me. Added to that, if it's set up where every time an expenditure that the hospitality committee needs to make has to come back to the city and go through an approval process, that could put roadblocks or just add an unnecessary delay into addressing the opportunities that are out there. That organization needs to operate at the same speed that the decision makers do that are driving this whole sector. They may not be able to wait a week, 2 weeks, or a month before they're able to fund an activity. So I strongly encourage you to think about how to be competitive in that market as well as protect the funds that are coming in through the city.
Mr. Mayor? What, just for curiosity, what kind of, something could come up that you wouldn't have at least a couple weeks' notice? I mean, if you have conventions and stuff coming up, I know you know before, day before, so I'm just kind of wondering, can you give me an example on what kind of? Everyday
Decision making. You know, sometimes there may be a development that's in progress that has a wrinkle arise that you need to address right away. You're competing against other communities and other organizations all the time. So sometimes you need to make adjustments midstream, and you just don't know what those are going to be. And it's really hard to project in a budget a year out how you're going to invest those monies. You have to have some flexibility. And that's why other communities set it up to where a certain portion of the hospitality, lodging, and occupation tax dollars go into the tourism committee or the visitors bureau, however they've set that up. And the city or the municipal organization manages that through regular oversight and reporting, not day-to-day control of the money.
I personally would also just like to see, you know, if we're going to be imposing a tax on the community for people who are coming out and visiting, it would be nice for our community to know that that money is being reinvested into the city itself in beautification and tourism and getting people to come and actually visit our community versus just going into the general fund for the city.
Well, that's where I'm saying if we set you up with a line item budget, X amount of dollars set aside for you guys each year, you know, and then like say if something pops up, we could always work around it, but you would have your base budget to work off of, just like we do with any of our other items in our budget as far as street department or pool or, you know, the power side of our budgets. You're always kind of, you never know what's going to happen. You don't have a crystal ball to see what's going to pop up, but at least, you know, maybe we could fund a baseline budget for you that would cover probably 99% of the things that happen for you.
And generally, I think cities require that your funds have to be invested in services that the city gets a specific service back for the money that it provides. And what you're describing, I think, addresses that, whether the money comes. I never did anticipate that the money would flow directly to the hospitality group that would always come to the city
And then be funneled to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica, you're talking about reinvesting the money into the city beautification and that, does that fall under the line item of downtown revitalization, or do you have a line item budget for that you're looking towards, or?
Downtown revitalization, it would go towards advertising for our community itself. It would go towards, you know, broadcasting our community, recruiting people to come into our community. It would go towards all of that.
So pretty broad spectrum. Because it's you got a lot of advertisement listed down here, and conferences and conventions, and you know, it's not really that specific of a plan of what how that money you guys get is going to benefit Holdridge. Like, do you have any plans, or like they're asking before? Well, specifically, do you have anything specifically in mind, or is this just the basic layout?
It's a basic layout, just how this whole entire thing is pretty broad and basic right now. We don't know how much money we're going to be getting, so in order to, you know, actually go out and receive bids and have good estimates of banners and beautification, things like that, I mean, I can do all of that if you'd like me to, but if it's something that we know we're not going to get, it makes it a little bit.
Right now, this is for the council's consideration, and I don't know, my thought is, maybe we're getting the cart before the horse. I think we still need to approve this resolution.
Yeah, the ordinance hasn't been passed yet, so.
Yeah, if we have no occupation tax, we'll have to come back to the city and through other channels.
Well, the whole idea here is to provide you some information and guidance on where we might end up. Obviously, you've got work ahead of you to accomplish before this comes into play. Just trying to help you see how it could turn out. A lot of I's to dot, T's to cross before we finalize.
And then I can actually go back and look at how much our banners have cost in the past, just to get a good general idea of how much we spend on those projects.
Well, I would just like to see more money put back into the community instead, more of a percentage, if we did do this, back into the community instead of on conferences and conventions, and because I mean, I myself aren't seeing those that we put a lot of the percentage into paying off. I mean, just because I don't see it myself.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, maybe if we had like a category that we're putting 15% towards the parks, or towards the ball field, or the pool, or something like that, you know, then
Well, that's what
that
we
would be.
Planned for the 50% that the city would receive, is that would go into your parks
Well,
grant?
we're already going to plan on doing that,
Yeah.
because we have to.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to beautify the town more, you know, that's something else that you guys could pick up on too. I mean, there's
Yeah.
lots of places, whether it's flowers downtown, or, you know, on the medians or something like that, or the banners or whatever. You know, that's
So-
just something I would like to see more of the money used towards than recruitment,
And
really.
the reason that's so big is because conferences, that's the way that they get them to come to their communities. They're big conferences, so having more money for those conferences to actually happen in certain locations is a bigger, enticement for them to actually come to your community. So the bigger the enticement we can have, the better opportunity we have for these things to actually come here.
That generates more tax dollars.
So that would generate more money from this.
I just wish we had a conference center.
That's what I was gonna say, you talk about bringing conferences here.
Yeah, so we would use the hotels for those. I know Roadway Inn has room for 100 people in their conference room, and the Cobblestone will have room for,
35.
Yeah, so they'll have a pretty good sized conference room as well.
And then there's a city auditorium.
There's the Ag Center.
Ag Center and other places where we can use as assets to recruit.
The high school brings a lot of firemen and EMTs when they have their annual conference.
And this could even be things like craft shows, having craft shows come here, having all of those people come and travel the night before, stay at the hotel, come in early, set up, things like that. So it wouldn't, have to be, when you think of a conference or something like that, it doesn't have to be, a human resources type conference or anything like that. It can be as easy as recruiting a craft show that is held in a smaller community into Holdridge.
Okay.
Jessica, one thing that'll bring more people to town in the summer than anything going on here will be baseball, softball tournaments.
I completely
That has
agree.
to happen.
Yeah, and so if we can entice those tournaments to happen here by, incentivizing them with some money to actually do it here, then that would encourage more hotel stays, that would encourage more business for our downtown businesses, our restaurants, our retail, things like that.
That won't happen though until these fields get built. They have to be built first. And then we'll start worrying about the other stuff. But it is critical that these get built in this community.
Mary?
We support you. We've always supported the chamber. Chamber, I know you're new to the chamber. The chamber's never been told no. We'll continue to support you. I don't think we need to sign. I love everything you've done. You've really ran with this.
Thank you.
We don't need to sign an agreement saying that we're going to support you. Come ask us.
Okay.
We have a very good proposal here from the chamber. What's the council's wishes? You want to table it? You want to look at it later? You want to approve what there's two different proposals here.
I'd like to table it because we haven't even passed the tax yet, so.
I will second that.
I got a
That-
question though first.
Is that a motion, Ben?
Motion.
And we have a second, McDermott.
I got a question. What I'm looking at is, would you sooner have, like Doug was saying, set amount every year? Because you don't know, you may not get 20,000 or whatever, because you may have a bad year like this and you're not going to get it. At least if it's a set amount, you're going to get 15,000 or 20 or whatever the amount is. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there too.
Yeah. And
Well, if it's a percentage,
Yeah, but
if it's based on a percentage.
yeah,
if we
but
get
I'm just
more-
saying they're guaranteed 15 or however much.
Yeah.
They're guaranteed that, where if you have a bad year like this, they may not be getting 15,000 because take for instance 40,000, you gotta get X number of dollars to get up to that 20,000. Or otherwise, it's guaranteed 15. So. I mean, it's just food for thought.
Yeah. Yep. Understand.
And this can be an ongoing conversation also.
Yeah, Jessica, I don't want you to feel discouraged by anything I said. I like a lot of that. I just feel like we have a lot of stuff going on right now that this is something we need to just kind of wait on until everything else starts to fall in order.
You're doing a good
But
job.
I like everything you've done so far.
Thank you guys.
And I apologize, Ben, did you mean for that to be a motion?
Yes, I did, sorry.
We do have a motion and a second.
And a second. Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried to table. Item 6, consider second reading of ordinance 2437, establishing a hotel occupation tax in the city of Holdridge, Nebraska. We've had the first reading.
Second reading, ordinance 2437. An ordinance to amend chapter 10, article 5 of the Holdridge Municipal Code related to occupation taxes, adding sections 10-505 through 10-512, and creating a hotel occupation tax in the city of Holdridge, Sullivan County, Nebraska. To repeal all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to provide for the severability of all parts hereof, and to designate the time described in this ordinance shall be in effect. Be ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Holdridge, Nebraska.
Thank you. Motion to approve the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Gibbons.
Second.
Aldrich, if I
Motion
had.
Aldrich, second Gibbons. Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
No.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Hines,
No.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
6-2.
We have 2/3 majority vote to approve it. Want to wait on the next council meeting? It's council's wishes.
I'd like to wait.
Okay. Okay. Item 5, consider opening the North Park splash pad. Mary?
So we talked about this in committee and considered the most recent THMs from Two Rivers. And we are allowed to open the splash pad, so our discussion was centered around what types of sanitizing we're gonna be doing. And I think committee's consensus was that we can go ahead and open not just the splash pad, but also the public bathrooms there at the parks, with sanitizing once in the morning, once in the evenings on weekdays, and once a day on weekends. But the public needs to understand that Two Rivers' recommendations were to sanitize every 4 hours, but we only have the resources to do what I've just outlined.
That was on the bathrooms being sanitized.
It was the same recommendation for the splash pad. I mean, not from us, but from Two Rivers had the same recommendation for the splash pad.
Yeah, but I've also seen where they say that UV light kills this virus. So, in my mind, we were just discussing the bathrooms getting clean.
Okay,
Because when we asked him how long it would
okay,
take.
so just bathrooms
Because we're
and
not
not
gonna wipe
splash
down
pad.
all the, because we're also opening playgrounds too, is what I was understanding.
So you're
Yeah.
saying sanitize bathrooms and not splash pad
Yeah,
and
because I think
playgrounds?
UV light will take care of it. And also with this, the city of Omaha opened their parks and playgrounds and splash pads. I read this in the World Herald. And the way they're going about it, they're putting signage, you know, play on at your own risk, not sanitized. And then on the bathrooms, they're putting signage, bathrooms are cleaned once a day, is the way they're covering it. Now, I don't know if Rod has any input as far as if that signage is good enough, but I know that's what Omaha's doing, so.
I'm all in favor of opening that stuff up.
Yeah.
I thought you'd probably follow the Two Rivers recommendations and sanitize those bathrooms and stuff every 4 hours. I mean, I recommend you follow Two Rivers recommendations and find the money somewhere, because you're not opening the pool, so there's gotta be money in that budget somewhere. I just think you ought to follow what Two Rivers says. You put them in charge, and,
Well, that'd be once every 4 hours, then we were,
Yeah.
because we were.
The CDC guidance is they basically put out new guidance that said it doesn't really live on surfaces very
Yeah.
long, and the risk of transmission is extremely low. So I don't know why Two Rivers is suggesting every 4 hours. That seems excessive.
And really, for what we were thinking on timing, it was like, it'd be kind of close to the 4 hour deal anyway by the time they went on the weekends. I guess we were thinking like when the guys went to work, and then like at 3:30 in the afternoon or something like that. So on Saturdays it would have been fairly close to the 4 hours, but I'm kind of like you. I've seen where the
City of
they said
Kearney's
the
once a day.
Yeah, City of Kearney's going once a day, and CDC has put out where, deal I read, you'd basically have to touch that virus on this table and go basically to your mouth in order to transmit it.
That's what all the kids do, dude. They're
How
gonna
much-
touch everything.
But you know what the chances are of actually finding that virus right there? I guess I'm ready to open it up. The kids
Same as
need a
it
place to play.
I'm ready to open it, but
Problem
under,
to work in, somebody to clean the bathrooms once a day?
We would just make do.
Twice a day, right? I think
We would-
twice a day is fine.
We would make it do.
Then
We
we
have
really
people
discuss
on
twice
call
a day.
during,
Right, that's fine.
sorry. We have people on call during the week, or during the weekends, so we would just increase duties and make things happen.
It'd be a 2 hour call out, correct? To come in.
It'd be a
and-
total of 4 hours, could be once in the morning, once in the afternoon. It'd be a total of 4 hours. for Saturday and for Sunday.
I thought we were thinking just once on the weekends and twice on the week when the guys are on.
Oh, I figured it'd be twice on Saturday, that's up to you, it's your guys'
I-
decision.
I would take twice on Saturdays and Sundays if you're comfortable with,
Yeah,
I
that's,
mean, if the guys will do it, you can get someone to do it.
Depends on the weather, if it's raining and storming and.
Right.
And actually on the weekends, they might be actually a little busier on Saturdays anyway, people are having a picnic up there or
7 to 9
something.
is more clean.
What,
So it might
what
be
about,
good to do the twice.
I'm sorry, Doug.
Go ahead.
Recommendation from the committee as far as signage?
Are the signs gonna protect us,
Or do we
Rod?
need,
Well, I'm gonna say no more than 10 people at a,
I don't know how you're gonna police that. When it's outside,
And the
I think that's hard
DHM
to
is
police.
25% capacity, now, isn't it?
We don't have a rated capacity for the splash pad or the playgrounds that
But
I.
outside gatherings was more than 10 people.
Oh,
Yeah,
25, I think.
yeah.
And I think-
There.
Carney, they're opening up on the 8th, that's my understanding.
Playgrounds and all, yep.
What about the water fountains? Keeping
The drinking fountain or?
I don't know if they're doing that in any of the others or not, I haven't heard any.
I just saw
Most
Carney.
places are keeping them off.
Oh, yeah,
That'd probably
probably the
way to
best
go.
thing.
So do we wanna open the splash pad and the bathrooms like by the end of this week? If Kim's got time to get
I'd
going?
say whatever timetable fits for Kim.
And then do we wanna sanitize twice a day during the work week? And then you wanna go once or twice a day during the weekend?
I'd say we just will do it twice a day, every day, be consistent.
That's a good idea.
I would too, especially weekends.
Got a lot of kids wanting to use it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've had a lot of people say we need to get them open.
oh, yeah.
Agreed.
The kids are needing something to do.
Yeah.
It's a nice facility, and I don't see the splash pad would be
Yeah.
much of
Well,
an
that's not
issue.
gonna hurt.
The good thing about that is they're not touching the features a whole lot. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
when they
there's
go to clean the
water flowing.
bathrooms, have them hit the thing that turns the splash pad on, but
More of the adults, not social distancing, is probably more of an issue than the kids running through the water. 'Cause kids don't climb on the splash pad and stuff, they run through it.
Adults sit in the shade.
What?
Adults sit in the shade.
Yep.
And it's kind of, the adults are gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yep.
You know, I've been involved with several funerals, and the one, I think we had about 150 people at the cemetery. You know, so they just kinda, they set their lawn chairs out, and some were spaced out and some weren't, but you're not, you can't
Can't
tell them what to
control
do. If they're comfortable, they're comfortable.
Yeah.
the bathrooms, splash pads, playgrounds, the end of this week.
I guess it's up
Get
to
it
what,
rolling.
how much, the playgrounds won't take much to get open, or the bathrooms, but splash pad, I don't know. Is there a little bit of maintenance that goes on to get that up and running?
Yeah, there is.
So,
We'll say you have permission to open it and go ahead and open it
I'll
when you
just
get,
do
when
it
you
when
get
we
to
can.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I'm not
because-
putting a deadline on you, I'm saying.
Because we got all the playgrounds, no fenced off, so we gotta pull all the fence, pull all the posts and whatnot, so we'll start first thing tomorrow.
June 8th would be next Monday.
Right.
so,
That'd be a good
be
time.
something to shoot
Give
for.
them a week.
I would make that a motion to go ahead and open the parks as we've discussed,
Playground and splash pad.
and the bathrooms.
I would second that.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gilly,
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Hine,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yeah.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And Mr. Mayor, would you talk about what our plans are for sanitizing, like when you go on the radio, just so people know?
I don't know if the radio's still open.
Oh, you haven't been doing that? Well, Tony will put it in for us.
If the door's locked and the lights are off, I don't go in.
Do we need another
Yeah.
motion on the restrooms? It's listed as a separate item, or we could just go with that?
You already covered it, so.
Yeah,
It's all right.
that's fine. Just making sure we're covering the bases as far as the agenda.
It all goes together.
Okay. You're happy, I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm real happy.
Thank you. Item 7, discussion of use of the Veterans Memorial Park tennis court area. The old tennis court, south court. We have some people who would like to do some skateboarding and stuff. One person would like to build a skate park. I emailed him back, but another person would like to use the south tennis court for skate park. And we've talked about that south tennis court, just pouring concrete over it and basketball court. So, Kim?
Well, what we've done down there is we removed all the asphalt. As if anybody's driven by it, it's got different depths on it because I believe a long time ago it was used as a skating rink, so it's filled full of water and used as a skating rink. In order for us to pour concrete back over the top of it like we're shooting to do for future basketball courts, we gotta go remove some of that base concrete because we don't want water to get through the cracks, standing, freezing, and breaking up the new concrete that we would happen to pour. So we need to go saw it, remove the concrete, and then we want to bring in sand and or gravel to bring in and get a good base. And then pour 4 to 5 inches of concrete for a possibly, and it'll fit 2 full-size basketball courts. And the email that was sent to me looks like they could still skate on it, ride their bikes on it, whatnot. We could have it painted every 5 years or whenever we need it, because I think the wear and tear with some of the skating stuff would make a difference on the painting of the basketball lines, but I don't think that would be that big an issue. It'd still allow basketball games through, and then the kids could skate on it also. Way back when, we got an estimated consultant cost was around $90,000 for the concrete. I don't remember, I don't have that in front of me, how many yards of concrete that would be. But what we would do is we would put the bid out for bids just for the pouring of the concrete. And so we could get that done. They'd come in with some trowels or some electric trowels, and they would get it done right, so it looked nice and there wouldn't be any problems.
When we were discussing it earlier, you talked like our crews could cut the old concrete out and get it prepped and ready. And
we could remove all the existing, we could saw it and remove the existing concrete, so our crews could do that.
So I wonder what the estimate before that 90,000 probably included if a contractor came in and did everything.
I don't know if it did. I don't remember.
I don't remember
either.
But so
Ben, is there very many people who use that court now?
Now, no, not useful. I
You
mean,
can use it now.
you can go swimming if you want, but.
The reason I ask, I rode my little scooter around there the other day. We did a walk around the park, and so I just hopped on, and the scooter has wheels a little bigger than that, not much bigger. It wasn't all tore up, and I didn't get hurt or anything, but
It's really rocky.
yeah, and water's on there. Water's sitting there and stuff. It needs to be reworked. It needs to be done. So it's right.
With all the plans that are slated for the South Park, with Veterans Memorial, with everything that's they want to do events down there, I mean, it's an eyesore right now. It needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those projects that's sitting there half completed.
Yeah.
And we're calling this a basketball court, but really it can be a multi-use surface. We're not talking about putting in features for a skate park. We're talking about, okay, here's a nice fenced concrete area where you can take your kid and teach them how to ride a bike without having them out in the street. Where you can go rollerblade, where you can go take your little ones to practice their skateboards without having to be out on the public streets or the public sidewalk. So we call it a basketball court. There'll be nice quality cement and basketball hoops, but we could keep the lighting and fences so that it can be multi-use. And I think we just want, you know, guidance to tell Kim to go ahead and write the specs.
There is a sign up there by the, go ahead.
And the money is not coming from the ball field fund, not going anywhere near that.
There is a sign by the walk-in gate, no skateboarders, no. I think that needs to come down.
When we get the project done, we'll have to move and take that down.
It's pretty faded.
We've been there over the years. There's been battles down there about skateboarding and what have you, and liability issues, and it's still going on in communities.
When that was a tennis court, we didn't want skateboarders and bicycles on that surface tearing it up. We go concrete, you're not gonna hurt it.
Go ahead, Rod.
Rod?
I'm confused. This letter from Mr. Christensen in here was talking about it not being a skateboard park, because I don't know if you've been around where skateboarders are. You couldn't have a bunch of kids playing in there and somebody riding around on a skateboard. Skateboarding is totally different than all this other stuff you're talking about. I mean, there's all kinds of liability there. They want to bring in ramps, put lumber and stuff all over, and you need to differentiate whether it's going to be a skateboard park or not a skateboard park.
It doesn't have skateboard park features. If someone wants to take their skateboard in there, isn't gonna hurt anything on well-poured cement.
It won't hurt the court. What I'm talking about is people running around on these skateboards, and the skateboards shoot out from under you, and if you got a little kid in there, they can get hurt. Old people could get hurt.
Do we keep skateboards, so?
I'm saying skateboards are a totally different animal than some little kid riding a bicycle around or a scooter around. You need to check into that, what other communities are doing on these skateboards. But I think
Don't we have that liability with a skateboarder just riding down the sidewalk in our park?
You may have.
You know,
I don't
so-
know.
I believe it's.
I'm just saying, once you congregate all them people in that area, you got a bigger problem than using them on the sidewalks.
But I don't think if somebody's out there playing basketball, I don't think somebody's gonna go in there on a skateboard. You know, I think they'll be, if somebody's wanting to skateboard, they're gonna do it when basically nothing else is going on there.
I got the impression that Mr. Christensen was interested in using a multi-purpose court to ride his skateboard on, like somebody wanted to play basketball, but
Just wanted to smooth.
we had another
surface.
guy who was wanting to build a skateboard park, and I responded to that one pretty quick.
And let me clarify, it's not just Tim Christensen that wants to see that cleaned up, and it's not just Tim Christensen that wants to be able to, you know, ride a skateboard or rollerblades, or have their kids practice their bike riding, or bring a remote control car in there, you know, instead of running it up and down the city streets. It's not just Tim Christensen. That happens to be, this was overdue for a discussion anyway. He just happened to email me a couple weeks ago. That's why his letter was included. But yeah, multi-use, pour some concrete, keep the existing infrastructure with the fences and lights. We just need, Kim wants to know if he should move forward with specs, and so we want to get a general consensus on this deal.
I'll make a motion to move forward.
Do we have the money in the budget, Tim?
Discussion.
Yes.
What'd you say, Ben?
Oh, it's just discussion.
Okay.
So do we need a motion, or do you just want to?
Yeah.
It's just
Discussion.
Just have Kim go ahead and pull some numbers together, I guess.
Everyone's comfortable with writing the specs, approving the specs, putting it out for a bid, and then we'll see how the bids come back?
Yep.
I
Sounds
think
good.
we should get an estimate, engineer's estimate, before we go.
I've got an engineer's estimate, it was $90,000
How many years ago was that?
last year.
It was. Kim, can we use that existing fence?
Yes,
And
the
lighting?
existing fence, there's probably about a foot all the way around.
Yeah,
We're leaving all that there.
okay,
The only thing we gotta do, we gotta go inside that
okay.
and saw about a foot inside the whole thing, and then take all that out, and then bring our subgrade in to bring it up. Yeah, all that fence, we don't have to touch any of that.
Needs a little repair, but it's actually in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it is, it's not too bad at all.
Okay, that sounds good.
An excellent time to do it with the other stuff going on in South Park. Thank you.
I'm all for it, Mary. Let's move forward.
Thank you, sir.
Item 8, consider moving forward with the East Street Gap paving project. If we want to do it, now is the time. Me and my great-grandson rode down, we did survive East Street on our bike. Him on my bike, me on my scooter. Blessing are working on a paving project over in Crew subdivision. They've got their machine in there doing the grading.
Has the gas company got the,
What's that?
has the gas company got the line down? No?
Mr. Mayor, I have talked to Travis Hunter this morning. They're scheduling it to get it done. They did not give me a time frame, but they're scheduling, going to get it scheduled.
Mayor, have we notified all the property owners yet?
The
about
city
project?
hasn't authorized that we're going to move forward on this project yet. That's,
Have we done plans and specs on East Street?
yes, we do.
Yes.
So that's what you're wanting us to authorize, so you can go ahead and send the letters to the property owners and.
We need to, we don't have to, but I think we need
we
to
should.
send letters to the property owners that we want to move forward. I'd love to have a petition on this, but the city can move forward with this. If you have not been by there lately, you can see we need to do what's right for our community. We can't have a nice Crew subdivision here with the homes there without having drainage. That 10th Avenue it does not drain. We've got all kinds of mud and dirt backed up to the west. That drainage is included into this project. I think we need to, I recommend that we send notices to the property owners that the city is intending to move forward. Now is the time to do it. We have Blessing Construction finishing up on Guston Street. They're starting on the Crew subdivision. While they're right there, now's the time to do it. I think the gas company's been kind of waiting for warmer weather. 70-pound line goes clear out, and I believe feeds Christian Homes and Allman Brothers. Allman Brothers a little slower right now.
BD also, I believe.
What?
He's BD too.
Yeah. So
Got to coordinate it. Summer's the best time.
somehow to feed that, and better them than I.
Yeah, they got ways to do it.
Yeah.
This will be a gap paving project then.
This right now would be a gap paving project between 9th and 11th.
Mr. Mayor, in the letter, please include the dates and times of the council meetings so that the homeowners have opportunity, so they know when their opportunity is to come see us.
Yep.
Will there be a public hearing?
I'd recommend the next council meeting.
Okay. They need to be able to voice their opinion.
Yeah.
It's some pretty hefty charges on some people.
This would have been a whole lot cheaper 40, 50 years ago. Concrete prices gone up. Yeah, it has not been done.
Paid for the trailer, new trailer court.
Yeah. But we're not assessing anybody any different than we have every other property owner in the city of Oak Ridge.
I say we move forward.
Move forward with the letters.
I'd make the motion to move forward with the gap paving project.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbon.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldridge.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. It is now time for open discussion for the staff and council members. Dane.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Chief?
I have nothing.
Hello?
Excuse me?
Yeah?
I have nothing.
We'll talk about that later. Randy?
Kim, any update on the street sweeper?
No, sorry.
Terminal?
Should be. I don't remember what it was, Randy, but it's still in Lexington. They're supposed to let us know as soon as we get it, we'll start, because it's, we gotta get a lot done, it's a mess, so. I tried to beat you to the punch and then break it down, and I lost.
I thought I saw it running today, but it must have been a...
Okay, I'll find out, sure, I have not heard different.
I think it was just a glare off of something with flashing
Okay.
light. No, that's it, Mayor.
Okay. Ben?
No, thank you.
Jason?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Okay. Mr. Urbach?
Nothing.
Okay. Gibbons?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Mary?
I want to thank the members of the Whole Ridge Police Department that took the time to give a demonstration for NTV the other day. They set a good example of what it means to be a public servant. So thank you to the 4 of you that did that.
Kudos to the PD. Thank you, Mary. Mike?
I have nothing.
Mr. Simpson?
Are we still having staff work split shifts or whatever? And are we looking at what a timeline's gonna be as far as bringing them back to regular hours? I don't know how the guidelines are affecting that as far as when we can bring them back.
There's been some talk about that, Dane?
You got an answer?
Well, I don't have an answer or not, I can tell you what we're talking about anyway. We still are split crews. We'd like to wait 2 more weeks to see what opening up does as far as community spread. And if we don't see community spread.
I know we just haven't talked about it
Yeah.
for quite a while, so.
It's working pretty well. The crews don't get as much done as they'd like, but they're getting plenty of work.
Okay.
Put in a note to that, they are on call, so we do have quite a, like Sid and Chuck will come in and pour concrete. We need heat help, they come in. They call, they come in, so,
Okay.
I mean, they are getting stuff done, but it's right, we're not full crews.
I'm glad it's still working out good, but I know we just hadn't talked about it since we initially did it, so.
We would like to get it back to where it was, but we feel it's maybe rushing a little bit right now. We'll see. Next 2 weeks how
I
that
know, like
plays out.
we're still locked on the front doors and stuff. I know the courthouse, they were opening their doors and stuff. I didn't know
And
where we were, so.
I recommend that we get some plastic plexiglass shields for the counter before we open up the offices. Some sneeze guards.
I understand they're hard to get now.
Yeah, the price has gone way up on plexiglass.
I don't think I don't know, what I understood the courthouse was using, like I think tablecloths because they couldn't find any plexiglass. At least that's what I heard last time.
I got one full sheet at the shop.
Well, bring it in, buddy.
Double strength glass.
Oh, it's 1/4 inch.
Not as expensive as the beef now.
Rod?
No kidding.
Nothing tonight? Kim?
Nothing.
Brian is on.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, I just had one thing to tell you guys in case you get asked on the street. This morning around 10:30, most, if not all of the town saw 2 blinks. And I had the crew that was working check it out. They found nothing, so I called NPPD, dispatch, and Kearney. They looked into it, and they actually had one of their main transmission lines lock out that feeds the 115 sub south of town. And then they had to manually open a switch because things didn't work right. So we saw it again when they opened that switch. So it was NPPD this morning. It was not our system. Just thought I'd let you know.
Cool. Thank you. Sound like you're moving along with that T2 cable on 13th, getting supplies?
What was that? Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
They're still working on that T2 cable on 13th Street, getting the supplies lined up. Is that correct?
Yes, Jay, I got with Jason. Jason's got everything ordered. With the coronavirus and some of the factories were shutting down during it, it put some of that stuff out like 3 months. So we got it ordered, so it'll be a little while before we get on it, but when everything comes in, I've talked to IES and they agreed to help us pull that conductor in and get that job done before winter hits.
Cool. Thanks, Brian.
Yep, no problem.
This weekend, Friday, Saturday, we do have the free tire disposal. Is that correct?
Yes, I guess I should have brought that up. Yeah, we have free tire disposal on Saturday and Sunday both.
Sunday?
No, I'm sorry.
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday.
Got the rest of it along.
It's not what I say, it's what I mean, okay?
I thought that's what
we're
you
gonna
meant.
we're gonna have plenty of help out there on both days, so we can hopefully have people dump and get out efficiently. We still gotta keep track of where they all come from. This is 100% refunded grant through DEE. So yeah, it'll be 8:15 to 4:30 on Saturday, or on Friday, and 8:15 to noon on Saturday. So.
And if I get tires put on my vehicle, I get charged $10 or $4 disposal fee. But these contractors, tire shops,
If they're in the business of tires, they cannot bring them. The grant excludes anybody that sells tires for a living. They're excluded. They cannot bring them.
that's what I was thinking.
That's what the grant says.
And this is for 3 different counties, is that correct?
Correct. We've done this grant numerous times, so we go about every 2 years is when we allow it.
And it works out good. So
Yes.
hopefully we can clean up the community with a lot of tires, with breeds mosquitoes. And if there's nothing else, I will adjourn this meeting.
Just outside.
Of course, you used to travel for work, and now I bet you just travel.
It hasn't happened yet.
I know you
That
might not know how many times you live on the beach somewhere. Would you like to have the option?
I was thinking we were slower than I would like to.
How's your internet down there?
We didn't.
Would you be okay if you
Still,
did
well,
it?
I never say 50% capacity.
It would be ideal if we could get it that way, but yeah, like you say.
Well, I think our capacity is 99.
I know where we're gonna be. If we had the opportunity, that'd be great.
But tables have to be 6 feet apart, and you get some bars that
Can't make it.
it's.
Everybody thought that we're gonna do it. I think it'd be good.
Or even, or think about Jason Powers, the health insurance guy that drives up from Kansas City. I mean, he makes a point, I don't know if you're gonna have a profile in this area, but he makes a point of driving those 6 hours because he wants us to know that he cares, but my
Now
God,
you can
man.
go in and you don't have to sign a deal.
That's
to drink.
You know,
Yes,
I don't know whether we, the government lets us do our meetings